Okay, in today's lesson we're going to be talking about how we are going to display box and whisker plots and how we're going to interpret all the data that we have in box and whisker plots. Now we have to remember that a box and whisker plot is nothing more than just a new graphical representation. It's just to facilitate how we interpret, how we can see the data, and it will give you information that you need for comparison immediately. So the first thing we have to know is how to define a box and whisker plot. So the first thing we do is, what is a box and whisker plot? Here it is. It's a graphic way to display the median, quartiles, and extremes of the data set on the number line to show the distribution of the data. Now that said, what we're actually doing is just doing another graphical representation of the data that we already have. You might ask yourself, why would we do this? Well, we do this just so it is easier to interpret. Just by looking at it visually, we could interpret it. Now let's see, how do we do this? Well, imagine we have this. We have all these jobs over here on the side. So we can see over here the jobs in numbers of thousands, like computer engineering, computer support, and all that. And we wanted to make a box and whisker plot. The first thing we have to do is we organize all of this data. We find the least and the biggest value. Those will be our extreme values, or the range of the data set. We put a little dot on both. Yes, after we organize them, we can actually put it on top of the number line. We put the dot with the minimum value. We find our lower quartile, or Q1, our median, or Q2, our upper quartile, or Q3, and the maximum value. Remember that the range is the maximum minus the minimum value, right? So right here we have all the range. We have our quartile 1, our median, or quartile 2, quartile 3, or upper quartile, and the maximum value that we see from our data. After we've done this, to make the box and whisker plots is pretty simple. Yes, all we have to do is right here draw the box and the whiskers. Now the box is in quartile 1. If we see in quartile 1 right here, we draw a line, horizontal lines, horizontal lines over here, and vertical lines. So the first thing I would do is I would draw vertical lines in quartile 3, quartile 1, and quartile 2, or the median. After I've drawn those 3 lines, I would just connect to make my rectangle. After the rectangle is done, I complete the whiskers by doing or connecting the quartile 1 with my lower range and the quartile 3 with my upper range. Now if you notice, if we see all of this distance over here, this distance is actually telling us how spread out the data is. Why? Remember that between quartile 3 and the last or the biggest number, it's 25% of the data. In each of these little dots, it's 25% of the data, 25% of the data, and 25% of the data. If you notice right here, between our lowest value and quartile 1, there's not that big of a line, so it means that the data is not that spread out. They're all bunched up together. Whereas in here, it's very spread out. Here, not that much, but here again, we can see it very spread out. Now, let's see. I'll give you some time to do this one, just to check. You have all this data over here. The first thing, what is the first thing that you would do? Organize it, right? From smallest to biggest. After you organize it, you determine which would be your quartiles. So the first thing that we notice is, oh, this will be our lowest, and our biggest is which one? 45. So let's look at over here. It seems for 45, so we would have to organize this completely over here. Let's organize this. Will be what? 4, the first one, then 7, then 9, then 14, then 15, 18. 18 again. 22. 26. 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm missing one. Obviously 45. After we've organized our data, what do we find? We find our median, which is the median 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it will be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our median will be right here. 18. Then what would be the median in between these other two? So we know that this is Q2. Given that information, we know that Q2 is 18. This one seems, all of them seem correct over here. So the only problem will be in the difference over here. So Q1, we see over here, which is 9. And here, Q3 seems to be 26. After we found Q1, Q2, and Q3, we can look at our box and whisker plot to see which one is correct. So it's about 9. This one, all of them, this one is wrong. You notice Q1 over here, it says that it's approximately like 15. So this one will be wrong. This is 9, 9, 9. All of them have the correct lower quartile and the lowest value. Now let's look at quartile 2. It's 18. This is correct. 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 And quartile 3, 26. Correct. This one is telling me that's 30. So now this one doesn't seem like 26. It's more like 28. Let's look at the upper value. Well, this one is telling me like it's approximately like 32 or 33. And this is 45. So my correct answer would have been this one. And this is how I would have graphed my box and whisker plot from that data set provided.